Ladies and gentlemen, you ever wonder why some people light up when you walk into the room and others barely blink? I used to think it was about looks, status, maybe the way you talk, but over time, I realized there are really just two reasons people truly fall in love with you. And once you understand them, it changes how you connect with everyone. This isn't about romance. This is about influence, respect, and the kind of presence that makes people say there's just something about them. Let's talk about what that something really is. You know, the first reason people fall in love with you, it's not what most of us think it is. It's not about how put together you look or how clever your lines are. It's not the shoes, the car, or the carefully curated version of yourself you post online. It's your authenticity, the real you behind all of that, the unneeded you. Now, I get authenticity is one of those words that gets thrown around a lot these days. But what it really means is this. Who are you? When you're not trying to impress anyone, when there's no audience, no performance, who shows up then? Because people are tired of filters, literal and emotional ones. We're drowning in highlight reels. Everyone's projecting some version of success, confidence, or perfection. But what makes someone pause, what makes them lean in, is when they meet someone who's just real. There's something disarming about it. It makes you feel like you can breathe around them. That's when connection starts. Think about the last time you met someone and thought there's just something about them. Odds or that something wasn't flashy. It was honest. Maybe they didn't have all the right words. Maybe they were a little awkward, or their laugh was just a touch. Recapio, create AI YouTube. Summarize. Summarize or chat with AI. Read insights in seconds. Save hours. Translate to any language. Try for free. Sponsor. Too loud. But they weren't trying to be anything other than who they were. And that quiet confidence, that's what stays with people. Because in a world full of masks, truth is rare and rare things are valuable. Now, let me tell you something that might surprise you. Authenticity isn't about spilling your entire life story or exposing every flaw. It's about alignment. When your words match your tone, when your actions match your values, when who you say you are matches who you show up as day after day, that's authenticity. That's when people can feel you, trust you, and eventually fall for you. We're wired for connection, but connection can't happen if we're always performing. You can't fall in love with someone's highlight reel. You fall in love with their human moments, the ones where they're unsure, hopeful, raw, the nervous laugh, the pause before they say something honest, the stories they didn't plan on telling but did anyway. That's where the magic is. And here's the part most people miss. Authenticity isn't about getting people to like you. It's about giving people a chance to have know you. And that's riskier, right? Because once they know the real you, rejection feels more personal. But let me tell you, when someone falls in love with a version of you that isn't real, they're not really falling for you. They're falling for the mask. And that's a heavy thing to keep carrying. So we curate, we polish, we hide. But what if the parts you're trying to hide are the very things that would make someone say, well, I didn't know other people felt that way too? What if your story, exactly as it is, what makes someone else feel less alone? I'm not saying you have to be an open book to everyone. You don't, but I am saying that when you show up in integrity with yourself, you give people something solid to hold on to. They don't have to guess who you are today. They don't have to wonder if you're pretending. And that kind of presence, it's rare. It's comforting. It's what makes people remember you long after you've left the room. So no, people don't fall in love with how perfect you look or how flawless your story is. They fall in love with your presence, your truth, your willingness to be real in a world that rewards pretending. And when you give people the gift of the real you, that's when they lean in, not just with interest, but with heart. That's when love starts to stick. Here's something we don't talk about enough. You can be standing right in front of someone close enough to touch them and still feel 1,000 miles away. Presence isn't about being in the room. It's about being in the moment. Fully emotionally. That's what people really fall in love with. We've all had conversations that felt empty, right? You're talking, they're nodding, but their eyes are somewhere else. Maybe they're checking their phone or already halfway out the door in their mind. And sure, they were physically there, but emotionally gone. And that kind of presence doesn't connect. It doesn't make anyone feel seen or safe or important. It just leaves you cold. But then there are those moments, maybe even just a few seconds, when someone really locks in with you. They're listening with their eyes, their posture, their silence. They're not just waiting for their turn to speak, their das with you. And that kind of presence is unforgettable, because what it really says is, you matter here, you matter to me. People fall in love with that kind of energy, not because you're perfect, but because they feel like they exist when they're with you. You reflect back their value, their worth, their story. That's the emotional glue that holds relationship together. See, the most magnetic people aren't the ones who say all the right things. They're the ones who make you feel like you're the only person in the world when you're talking to them. That kind of presence heals, it builds trust, and it leaves a mark deeper than anything surface level ever could. And let me be clear, emotional presence isn't about being dramatic or oversharing. It's about being available, accessible, honest in how you show up. And that doesn't mean you have to fix everyone's problems. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just stay in the moment with someone, not rush to a solution, not pivot the conversation back to yourself. Just be still and say with your presence, I'm here, I'm listening. But now let's flip the mirror. Think about how you show up with others. Because the truth is, if you're always distracted, always halfway out the door in your mind, people feel that. You can't fake presence. It's felt. And the people who are emotionally present, they don't have to chase connection. It comes to them because presence is rare. It's like warmth in the cold, and we're all wired to move toward warmth. Sometimes the most seen a person will feel all week is in a 30-second moment where someone actually looks them in the eye and gives them undivided attention. That's not small. That's everything. You want to build deeper connections. Stop trying to impress people and start trying to be with them. Your story, your wisdom, your energy, it lands completely differently when it's wrapped in presence. People hear you more clearly. They trust you more quickly, and they remember you long after the conversation is over, because it's not about being impressive. It's about being immersed in the moment. When you're emotionally present, you create space. Space for honesty, space for trust, space for love. And that's what people fall into. Not the surface of you, but the space you make for them. So no, being in the room isn't enough. Being at the dinner table, or on the phone, or in the meeting, that doesn't mean you're elder with them. The people who leave imprint aren't the loudest or the most charming. They're the ones who are fully their heart, mind, and attention. And in a world full of half commitments and shallow distractions, emotional presence feels like a full body. Yes. And people can't help but move toward that kind of energy. That's when connection turns into something deeper. You want to know one of the quietest, most powerful ways people fall in love with you? It's through consistency. Not the flashy grand gestures, not the once-in-a-while attention. It's the steady presence, the reliability showing up the same way on Monday as you do on Friday. That's what builds trust. And trust, that's what builds love. We live in a world full of unpredictability. People say one thing today and change it tomorrow. Emotions swing, promises break, attention drifts. So when someone comes along who is steady, not perfect, but steady, that person becomes an anchor. And when someone feels like they can depend on you, lean on you, and know who they're going to get each time they see you, that's when something deeper starts to grow. And listen, consistency doesn't mean being emotionless or robotic. It means showing up with integrity. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you show care one day, you show it again the next. Even when you're tired, even when you're busy, because anyone can be kind when it's easy. But it's the people who stay kind when life is hard. Those are the ones people trust with their heart. Think about someone in your life who's earned your trust. Not someone who made a big impression once, but someone who made 100 small ones over time. You never had to guess with them. You knew where they stood, and you knew where you stood with them. That feeling, that's love rooted in trust, and it always starts with consistency. See, love isn't built in the exciting moments. It's built in the repeated ones, the check-ins, the text that says just thinking about you, the honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, the ability to disagree without disrespect. It's the people who don't just say they care, but keep showing it quietly, repeatedly. That's what builds something solid. And here's the truth. Most people